You ever notice how people got this sweet little talent for breaking the very thing they claim they love? Oh, it's beautiful, really. They hold you in their hands like some priceless glass, whispering about how they'll protect you, cherish you, never let you crack. And then, they drop you. Not by accident, no. By choice. They let you hit the floor just to watch how loud you shatter. And the irony? They act surprised when you bleed. They look at your pain like it's some damn inconvenience to their comfort. But let me tell you something. The day they smashed you, that was the day your edges turned sharp. And now, every piece of your broken soul cuts deeper than their lies ever could. They think breaking you made you weak. That's the punchline they laugh at while walking away. But the truth, oh, the dark little truth, is that every scar you carry is a blade in disguise. You learn something they never wanted you to learn. You don't need their hands to hold you anymore. You don't need their promises, their pity, their fake apologies. You became the weapon they forged with betrayal. And what's sharper than a soul that's been shattered and rebuilt without mercy? Nothing. Nothing at all. See, here's the trick of the world. They love watching you beg. They love watching you explain yourself, justify why you gave them everything when they gave you nothing. You stand there bleeding, saying, "I just wanted to be real with you." And they smirk, because people, oh, people, they love a fool who still believes loyalty buys loyalty. But listen to me. You're not a fool anymore. That part of you died the moment they shattered your trust. And what's dead don't come back. Think of it like fire. When a house burns down, the flames don't apologize for the ashes. They just keep devouring until there's nothing left. That's how you move now. Cold, relentless, consuming. You take their laughter, their abandonment, their disrespect, and you feed it to the fire inside you. You don't wait for justice. You don't wait for closure. You let silence, distance, and your new sharpness speak louder than anything you could ever say. Because the greatest revenge, it's not screaming at their doorstep. It's not showing them your tears. It's living so cold, so untouchable, that their names sound like jokes in your memory. You think they're sleeping peacefully tonight? No, they're haunted. Haunted by the ghost of what they lost. Every smile you wear without them, every quiet step forward, is a reminder that they didn't just break a person. They created a monster that doesn't crawl back. You are proof that silence kills louder than shouting. Proof that walking away leaves scars they'll never confess to. They thought you were glass. They didn't realize you were a mirror. And now every time they look at themselves, they see the crime they committed against you. And oh, that's punishment enough. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about becoming cruel for cruelty's sake. number. This is about discipline, control. The world wants you reactive, angry, loud, desperate, but you stay calm. You let them wonder what's behind the silence. You let them drown in the questions they'll never get answers to. You live in a way that forces them to choke on their own choices. And the best part? You don't have to lift a finger against them. Time does the job. Regret is a slow poison, and trust me, they're sipping it every night when the room gets quiet. So hold those shattered pieces tight. Don't hide them. Don't glue them back to look pretty. Let them stay jagged. Let the world know you're not soft anymore. You're not safe to play with. Every cut they gave you is now the edge that protects you from ever being fooled again. And when they come crawling back, and they will, remember this. You owe them nothing. Not your forgiveness, not your presence, not even your words. Your silence is the graveyard of their comfort. They shattered your soul. But the pieces cut sharper now. And that's the kind of pain they'll never survive. You know what's funny? People always talk about heartbreak like it's this delicate little tragedy, like a sad love song or some movie scene where the rain falls at just the right moment. But what they don't tell you is how ugly it really is. It's not cinematic, it's raw, it's messy. It's you lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone you would have died for didn't even hesitate to kill parts of you. That's the kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt. It rewires your entire system. And once you've been rewired, you don't go back to the same settings. You become something else. Something sharper. Something they didn't expect. Think about it. Before they broke you, you were soft clay. Malleable. Bendable. Willing to take the shape of their hands. But when clay is burned in fire, it hardens. It doesn't bend anymore. And you've been through the fire. You're hardened now. You don't bend for anyone. You don't let anyone's hands shape you anymore. And that's the part they hate. The fact that they can't touch you now. Can't control you. Can't manipulate you like before. They lost access to the person who once gave them everything. And what's left? A version of you they can't even recognize. Let me give you an example. Imagine a wolf raised among sheep. It forgets its teeth for a while, forgets its hunger. It learns to graze, to follow, to stay small. But the day the shepherd betrays it, the wolf remembers. It remembers the bite, the blood, the hunt. That's you. You remembered. They thought they could chain you with affection, break you with lies, bury you with silence. But you You dug yourself out of that grave, and now you're hunting with sharper teeth than ever. You see, betrayal is education. Pain is the greatest teacher this world has to offer. Books won't teach you what heartbreak does. Schools won't give you the lessons scars do. Pain teaches you the value of silence, the danger of trust, the weight of time. And once you learn those lessons, you stop playing games. You stop begging people to understand you. You stop chasing people who never deserved to be near you in the first place. Pain graduates you from innocence into power. And trust me, there's no going back. Let's be real here. You cried, didn't you? You screamed in the pillows, broke down in the shower, felt your chest cave in when you realized the person you protected was the one who stabbed you. And that's fine. Crying isn't weakness. It's purification. It's the poison leaving your system. But here's the deal. Once the crying stops, once the tears dry, the anger sets in. The coldness takes over. And that's when you become dangerous. Because no one knows what to do with someone who no longer fears losing. Once you've already lost everything you thought you couldn't live without, what's left to scare you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They'll come back around, you know. They always do. Not because they love you, not because they suddenly grew a conscience, but because people are addicted to what they can't replace. And you're irreplaceable. They'll try to fill the void with distractions, new faces, cheap thrills. But voids don't fill, they echo. And every echo will sound like your name. That's their curse. That's their punishment. And here's the sweetest irony. You don't even have to do a damn thing. Just keep moving forward, keep growing, keep building yourself. Your progress will scream louder than your pain ever could. Your silence will echo louder than any words you could say. You don't chase them. You don't wait for them. You don't beg them. You stand tall. Let the scars show. And you remind the world that the broken version of you was still more loyal, more real, more dangerous than the fake ones who walked away. So remember this. When they shattered your soul, they thought they ended you. But all they did was sharpen you. And every time they see you now, every time they hear your name, every time they scroll past your shadow in their memory, they'll feel those sharp edges cutting into their conscience. They made you a weapon. And weapons don't cry for their creators. You are not broken anymore. You are the blade. And the blade doesn't beg, it cuts. You know what nobody tells you? When they shatter your soul, they don't just walk away with pieces of you. They walk away thinking they've destroyed the whole damn masterpiece. They believe you'll stay on the floor forever, sweeping up your own fragments like some broken toy no one wants to fix. But here's the real punchline. Those pieces, they don't just scatter. They sharpen. They harden. They evolve. And every time you step forward with those jagged edges, the world learns you're not the same soft, pliable soul they could bend or break anymore. You've turned into something unrecognizable, something they fear without even admitting it. Let me paint you a picture. Think of glass. A glass cup is fragile, smooth, easy to hold. Drop it once and it breaks. But the shards cut deeper than the cup ever could. That's you now. Before they could drink from you, sip your loyalty, consume your love like it was endless. Now if they try to touch you again, all they'll feel is blood on their hands. You don't serve anymore. You wound. That's the transformation pain gifted you. And that's the lesson they never saw coming. People will call you cold. They'll say you've changed. They'll whisper that you're not the same anymore. And you know what? They're right. You're not the same. Because once trust has been shattered, once your chest has been split open, and your heart has been left bleeding on the floor, there's no going back to who you were. Innocence dies when betrayal arrives. Naivete buries itself in the coffin of your past. And what rises from that grave is someone smarter, harder, colder. That's evolution, not cruelty. That's survival, not madness. You ever see someone cry their lungs out at 4 a.m. until they pass out? That was you. You ever drag yourself through a day pretending you're okay while your ribs feel like they're crushing your own lungs? That was you. And here's the truth. Every one of those nights, every one of those days sculpted you. You were being rebuilt in silence while they were laughing in comfort. They thought you were finished, but really, you were being reforged like steel in fire. And steel, once hardened, doesn't bend again. Let's get logical about this. Why do people betray? Because they think you'll never leave. They think you're too kind, too soft, too forgiving. They take advantage of the fact that you keep showing up, keep answering the phone, keep wiping away their sins. Betrayal is rarely about them wanting better. It's about them testing if you'll tolerate worse. And the moment you decide you won't, that's when the power shifts. That's when their comfort turns into regret. That's when they realize they gambled with someone who doesn't lose twice. Look at history. Empires fall not because they're weak, but because they trusted the wrong hands to protect their gates. You trusted the wrong hands with your soul, and they opened the gates for enemies to walk in. But now you're wiser. Now you guard your soul like a fortress. Now no one gets in without proving themselves. That's the kind of shift betrayal forces on you. It's brutal, but it's fair. You'll notice something else, too. The same people who shattered you, they'll circle back. They'll test the waters with little smiles, half-hearted apologies, nostalgic conversations. And every part of you will remember what it felt like when they left you bleeding. And that memory, it will save you. Because scars don't let you forget. Scars are memory written on flesh. They remind you not to open the same door twice. And when you finally shut that door forever, that's when they feel the true weight of what they lost. Do you know why your silence hurts them more than your anger ever could? Because anger still gives them relevance. Silence erases them. Anger says, I care enough to fight. Silence says, you're dead to me. And when you treat someone like a ghost, they start haunting themselves. They carry the guilt, the regret, the realization that they destroyed the only person who truly gave a damn about them. That's not just punishment. It's poetic justice. So keep those edges. Don't sand them down. Don't try to look pretty again for people who only admired you when you were easy to use. Stay jagged. Stay sharp. Stay dangerous. Because the world doesn't respect softness. It exploits it. But the world bows down to strength that bleeds silence, scars, and unshakable presence. They shattered your soul, sure. But now the pieces cut sharper than ever. You ever notice how people always look shocked when you stop caring? Oh, it's priceless. They stab you, twist the knife, walk away smiling, and then months later, when they come crawling back, they find out the wound healed into armor. That's the part they never expect. They thought you'd sit there, waiting, fragile and desperate for their return. But instead, you became colder, stronger, untouchable. That's the irony of betrayal. It doesn't just break you, it upgrades you. They thought they ended the story, but they only wrote the first chapter of your rebirth. And that rebirth, my friend, it ain't soft. It ain't flowers and sunshine. It's brutal. It's bloody. It's you screaming into the night because nobody gave a damn, and then realizing nobody ever had to. Because the only one who needed to give a damn was you. That's the kind of clarity pain gifts you. And once you taste it, once you understand it, you don't need their validation, their pity, their apologies. You stop asking why they broke you. You start asking why you ever thought they had the power to. Let me spell it out for you. You trusted them because you saw something in them you thought was rare. Loyalty, honesty, love. But what you really saw? A mask. and masks always slip. They showed you who they truly were when they shattered you. And the lesson? People are not what they promise. They're what they do when it matters. And when it mattered, they chose betrayal. That's the truth. And truth, no matter how ugly, sets you free. Let's take this further. Think of a boxer. Every punch he takes in the ring either breaks him or teaches him how to dodge. Pain is experience. Betrayal is just another hit to the jaw. It dazes you, sure. It makes your knees buckle, but if you get back up, if you learn from the hit, you become a fighter nobody wants to face again. That's what you are now, a fighter. Not because you wanted to be, but because life demanded it. And when life demands a fighter, you either swing back or stay down. And you're still standing. You know what hurts the most? Not your tears, not your rage. What destroys them is seeing you smile again. Because it means their betrayal didn't kill you. It means the damage they caused wasn't permanent. And that realization, it eats at them. It keeps them up at night. Because deep down they know, if you can survive losing them, you can survive anything. And if you can survive anything, you're untouchable. But don't mistake survival for softness. You're not here to play saint. You're here to carry those scars like weapons. You're here to remind the world that people who break glass end up cutting themselves when they try to pick up the pieces. That's the beauty of your transformation. You don't need revenge. You are revenge. Your existence, your silence, your strength, that's the blade pressed against their throat every time they think about what they lost. And let me tell you something else. They will regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, when the noise fades, when the distractions die out, when they're left alone with their own reflection, they'll see it. They'll see the ghost of you standing there. They'll hear the echoes of your silence. They'll feel the weight of what they threw away. And in that moment, they'll realize the truth. They didn't just lose you. They lost the best damn thing that ever happened to them. So, what do you do now? You move forward. You sharpen every piece of yourself they tried to break. You make your scars your crown. You let your silence speak where words would fall flat. And you never, never let anyone think they can shatter you twice. Because once is a mistake. Twice is permission. And you, my friend, are done giving permission. Remember this. They shattered your soul. But the pieces cut sharper now. And when they try to touch you again, when they try to crawl back into the fire they started, All they'll find waiting is the edge of the blade they created. The beauty of betrayal, kid, is that it turns you into your own worst nightmare. And your own salvation. You start off thinking they broke you for good, thinking you'll never breathe without the weight on your chest, never smile without remembering the blade they left in your back. But here's the real twisted joke. That same blade, you pull it out, you sharpen it, and suddenly it's the weapon you use to carve a new version of yourself. And believe me, once you've been carved by pain, you stop being soft clay in anyone's hands. You become stone, cold, unmovable. And stone doesn't beg. Let me tell you something harsh. People don't destroy you by accident. They destroy you because they think you'll survive it quietly. That you'll accept the ashes as your new home. They think you'll stay broken, stay useful, stay silent. But when you rise out of those ashes with a glare in your eyes and silence in your mouth, that's when they panic. That's when the fear creeps in. Because the broken version of you they mocked is gone. And in its place stands someone who knows exactly what pain can do and isn't afraid to use it. Think of a sword. You don't get a sharp blade without fire. You don't get strength without hammering, pressure, force. Every betrayal you took, every night you screamed into the dark with no one listening. Every day you dragged yourself forward with a shattered chest. That was fire. That was hammering. That was you in the forge. And now you're the blade. And blades don't bend for anyone. You know what's hilarious? They'll try to come back one day. They always do. Not because they suddenly realized your worth, like they'll claim. Number. They'll come back because life out there is cold and empty, and nothing fills the void like someone who truly cared. And that someone was you. The one they discarded. The one they underestimated. But here's the punchline. When they return, they'll find silence. They'll find a locked door. They'll find you looking at them like a stranger. And that, my friend, will cut deeper than any insult, any scream, any revenge. Silence is the loudest scream you'll ever give. Don't get it twisted. This isn't about hating them forever. Hate keeps you chained. This is about seeing through them, about refusing to waste even a second of your new life on old ghosts. Because ghosts, they feed on attention. Ignore them, and they starve. And when they starve, they crumble into nothing but dust in your memory. That's the real victory. Look, I'll give you an example you can't forget. Imagine you're drowning, fighting for air, and the one you thought would save you They're the one holding your head underwater. That's betrayal. But imagine you find the strength to stand up, cough out the water, and walk away. From that day forward, every time they see you breathing, every time they hear you laughing, every time they realize you're alive without them, that's their punishment. Because deep down they know they tried to kill you, but you survived. And survival, my friend, is the loudest revenge. So let's get real. You can cry, you can bleed, you can fall apart in the shadows where nobody sees. But when the lights are on, when the world's eyes are on you, you stand tall. You walk silent. You let your scars do the talking. Because scars are proof you were broken but never buried. Scars are proof that what was meant to end you only sculpted you. They wanted ashes. They got armor. And don't forget this. People respect distance more than they respect kindness. You gave them kindness and they spat on it. You give them distance and suddenly they choke. Because kindness they take for granted, but distance forces them to feel the emptiness they created. It's like a mirror. You don't show them who you are anymore. You show them who they really are. And they can't stand the reflection. They shattered your soul. But the pieces cut sharper now. And every time life tests you again, you'll remember. Broken doesn't mean useless. Broken means dangerous. And dangerous is exactly what you need to be in a world that feeds on weakness. They thought they buried you. Oh, the arrogance. Thinking a little dirt, a little silence, a little betrayal would keep you underground forever. But they didn't realize you're not seedless. You're not a stone. You're a seed. And seeds grow in the dark. Seeds crack open under pressure, split themselves apart just to push through the soil. That's you. You cracked. You split. You shattered. But it was only to grow into something taller, stronger, unstoppable. And when you finally rise, when your roots are deep and your branches cut through the sky, they'll look up and realize they tried to bury something that was always destined to tower over them. That's the punchline they never expected. You see, there's a truth about pain that no one likes to admit. It cleanses. It burns away illusions. You used to see people through rose-colored glass. Their lies looked like loyalty. Their half-love looked like devotion. But pain smashed the glass. Pain stripped the illusions. Now you see people exactly for what they are, not for what they pretend to be. And once your eyes are open, you can't ever close them again. That's why betrayal hurts so bad. It's not just losing them. It's losing the illusion of who you thought they were. Let's get brutally logical. Imagine someone lending you a mask every day. You think it's their real face. You trust it. You love it. Then one day it slips, and behind it, rot, greed, selfishness. The betrayal isn't just what they did. It's the realization that they were never who you believed in. That's why it feels like your soul got shattered, because your reality did. But here's the good news. Reality is stronger than illusion. Illusions break. Reality endures. And once you live in reality, you don't fall for masks anymore. You know what else pain gives you? Options. Before, you begged for one person's attention like it was air. You thought without them you'd suffocate. But once they left, and you learned how to breathe on your own, you realized you don't need anyone to survive. And when you don't need anyone, you become untouchable. They can't bribe you with attention. They can't threaten you with abandonment. They can't control you with silence. Because you already mastered silence. You already befriended loneliness. And once you make peace with being alone, you stop being afraid of anything.
Let me tell you something harsh.
People rarely regret betraying you immediately. They're too busy enjoying the freedom of walking away. But regret, it's slow. It creeps in at night, when the distractions die, when the phone stops buzzing, when the fake smiles fade. That's when they remember you. That's when the ghosts come crawling back. And the ghost that haunts them most, it's not your face. It's the version of themselves that had you and destroyed you. They'll remember your loyalty, your care, your fire, and realize no one else matches it. And that realization, that's the slow poison they sip for the rest of their lives. Think about wolves. They hunt in packs, right? But when a wolf gets betrayed, gets outcast, it learns to hunt alone. And a lone wolf is the most dangerous of all, because it doesn't need the pack anymore. That's you now. They pushed you out. They tried to strip you of belonging, but all they did was unleash the predator they can't cage. And when they see you standing alone, thriving, sharper than before, they'll realize they didn't exile you. They freed you. That's the paradox of betrayal. They thought they broke your wings, but really, they ripped off your chains. They thought they caged you in silence, but silence became your throne. They thought they killed the fire, but the ashes only burned hotter. Every attempt to end you only pushed you into evolution. And evolution, my friend, doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for applause. It just happens. And when it's done, nothing looks the same again. So here's the lesson. Don't curse the pain. Don't curse the shattering. It was ugly, yes. It was brutal. But it made you sharper than you ever could have been without it. It built edges where there were only soft corners. It built armor where there was only exposed skin. They shattered your soul. But every piece, every jagged edge, every scar, it all came together into something indestructible. And now? Now you walk differently, talk differently, move differently. You no longer explain yourself. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You let your silence do the talking. Your scars do the explaining. Your progress do the screaming. And the best part? They'll hear it all, whether you ever speak to them again or not. That's the justice betrayal writes. It doesn't erase you. It amplifies you. And it doesn't protect them from the consequences. It delivers them in silence. They shattered your soul. But the piece is cut sharper now. And every cut you carry is a reminder. You survived. You evolved. And now you're the blade they can never touch again. You think they broke you? Oh no, they didn't break you. They revealed you. They stripped you down to the bone, peeled away the illusions, left you bleeding on the floor with nothing but silence to hold. And in that silence, you found yourself. That's the cruel joke, isn't it? They thought the silence would bury you, but silence became your teacher. It whispered truths you never wanted to face. It showed you that not everyone who smiles at you deserves your trust. It showed you that love without loyalty is just performance, that words without actions are just smoke. And smoke always fades. People will call you bitter now. They'll say you're too harsh, too cold, too guarded. But let's talk logic here. When you touch fire and it burns you, do you keep your hand in it just to prove you're warm? Or do you pull back, scarred, smarter, unwilling to let yourself burn again? That's not bitterness. That's wisdom. That's survival. They mistook your softness for weakness. But now you're proof that softness can be burned away until only steel remains. And steel doesn't apologize for refusing to melt twice. Here's something I'll never admit. They miss the old you. The one who forgave easily, who answered every call, who carried their weight without complaint. They miss the version of you they could break and still expect to find waiting. But that version is dead, buried under the rubble of your shattered soul. And the version standing here now, this version doesn't bow. This version doesn't chase. This version doesn't bleed for anyone who wouldn't bleed back. Let's take an example. Imagine a soldier betrayed on the battlefield by the very comrade he trusted, left exposed, left bleeding, left to die. But somehow he survives. He crawls through the mud, through the fire, through the pain, and he comes back. Not the same soldier, no. A harder one, a colder one. And when he returns to the battlefield, his enemies fear him more, because they know if he survived betrayal, he can survive anything. That's you. Surviving betrayal makes you indestructible. It makes you dangerous. Because if you can walk through fire and come out breathing, who the hell is left to stop you? People think anger is your weapon. They're wrong. Anger is temporary. Anger burns hot, fast, leaves you exhausted. Your real weapon is control. Your real weapon is silence. You don't scream at the world anymore. You don't waste your breath explaining to deaf ears. You let your progress cut louder than your words ever could. You let your distance suffocate the ones who once thrived on your presence. That's real power, when your absence hurts more than your anger ever did. Let me get darker with it. You see, betrayal is a mirror. It doesn't just show you who they are. It shows you who you are. And who you are now? Someone who doesn't fall twice for the same trick. Someone who doesn't mistake a smile for loyalty. Someone who understands that love without respect is poison. Betrayal stripped the paint off the world, left it bare, left it ugly. But now you see it clearly. And clarity is freedom. The kind of freedom they'll never taste. Because they're still addicted to illusions. They'll regret it. Oh, they'll regret it in ways they'll never confess. They'll sit in rooms full of noise, but inside their heads it'll be quiet enough for your memory to scream. They'll scroll through faces, conversations, distractions, but none of it will touch them the way you did. They'll realize too late that they didn't just lose a person. They lost the only soul that would have walked through hell for them. And when that hits, that's when they'll choke on their own choices. And you won't need to say a word. You won't need to prove anything. Your scars will speak. Your silence will echo. Your presence will radiate strength they can't comprehend. Every step you take forward without them is a cut. Every smile you wear without them is a scar across their conscience. Every time you refuse to look back, they die a little more inside. That's not cruelty. That's justice. That's balance. Remember this. They shattered your soul, but every piece they broke, you sharpened. Every scar they left became a shield. Every silence they gave you became a weapon. And now you're not just alive, you're untouchable. They thought they wrote your ending. Isn't that the sweetest lie? They believed walking away was the final page, that your story would crumble without their name scribbled all over it. But here's what they never understood. Your story was never theirs to write. They were just a chapter, a messy one, a painful one, but just a chapter. And the book? The book belongs to you. And now, after betrayal, after silence, after nights where the walls heard your cries louder than any human ear did, now the ink is darker, the pages sharper, the words heavier. They thought they killed you. What they really did was give you a pen dipped in blood and fire. Look at yourself. You've carried pain that could have snapped your spine in half, and yet you're still standing. People don't see the nights you wanted to disappear, the mornings you woke up with the weight of betrayal pressing on your chest like a stone. They don't see the moments you questioned your worth, the times you begged God to show you a reason to keep going. They don't see it, but I do. And let me tell you, that survival alone makes you a giant among insects, because most people, they fold at the first sign of pain. You didn't fold. You burned. You shattered. And then you sharpened. Let me break it down for you logically. A soul that's never been broken doesn't know its own strength. A man who's never been betrayed still believes in fairy tales, but you've been dragged through the fire. You've seen love turn to ash. You've seen loyalty rot into lies. You've stared in the mirror with swollen eyes and broken hope, and you've whispered, "Why me?" But now you know. Because only those who are chosen for greatness get tested this brutally. Only those who can carry the weight of scars are trusted with this kind of pain. Pain doesn't choose cowards. It chooses warriors. And warriors, my friend, don't just survive. They rise. Here's something they'll never confess out loud. They envy you. Oh yes, envy. Because while they're still living cheap lives, playing small games, hiding behind masks, you've been forged into something real. They don't have scars like yours. They don't have silence like yours. They don't have fire in their chest that could burn cities to the ground. They envy the very thing they caused, and that's the cruel little irony. They built the weapon that now makes their own memory bleed. Let's take an example. You ever seen a diamond? You know how it's made? Pressure, darkness, time. A diamond doesn't appear shining overnight. It suffers, it endures, it holds, and one day it shines so bright that the world stops to stare. That's you. The pressure of the trail, the darkness of nights alone, the time it took to rebuild, all of it was carving you into something rare, They treated you like glass, fragile, replaceable, but you were never glass. You were always a diamond waiting for the fire. And now you shine in a way that blinds them. But let's not dress it up too pretty. Pain isn't glamorous. Betrayal isn't poetic when you're drowning in it. It's ugly. It's brutal. It makes you doubt every breath, every step, every heartbeat. It makes you question your worth, your faith, your very existence. But once you claw your way through it, once you refuse to stay buried, once you choose to rise, then, and only then, does the ugliness become beautiful. Because scars are ugly, yes, but they're also proof. Proof that you bled and survived. Proof that the fire tried and failed. Proof that you are still here. They'll see you again one day. Maybe in the street, maybe on a screen. Maybe just in the silence of their own thoughts. And when they do, they won't see the person they broke. They'll see the storm they created. And storms don't apologize for the rain. Storms don't ask permission to destroy. Storms arrive, and the world remembers who's really in control. That's you now. You're the storm they didn't prepare for. And when it hits them, they'll choke on the very air they once breathed easy. So never forget. They shattered your soul. But what came out of that shattering? 1,000 sharp edges. And every edge is a warning to the world. Play with me and you bleed. Abandon me and you regret. Betray me and you never heal. That's not cruelty. That's balance. That's justice. That's the math of pain. They thought they ended you, but you're still here. Louder in silence, stronger in scars, sharper in pieces. They thought you'd never recover. That's the sweetest illusion they fed themselves, that you'd stay crawling, broken, desperate, begging for the same hands that destroyed you. But look at you now. You're not crawling. You're not begging. You're walking through the ruins like a king who's seen his castle burn and decided, fine, I'll build another one. Bigger, stronger, higher. That's what they never understood. When they shattered your soul, they didn't kill your fire. They fed it. They turned sparks into infernos, and infernos don't ask for pity. Infernos consume. Pain. Pain has this way of stripping everything fake away. It doesn't just show you who betrayed you. It shows you who you are without the mask of comfort. Think about it. You learned how to sit in silence with your chest ripped open. You learned how to face nights where your thoughts clawed at your skull. You learned how to function when you were a ghost in your own body. That's survival most people will never know. And because they'll never know it, they'll never understand your strength. That's why they'll call you cold, distant, heartless. But the truth? You're not heartless. You just learn not to hand your heart to people who treat it like trash. Let me give you a harsh truth. The people who shattered you, they didn't see your value because they couldn't afford it. Imagine giving a diamond to someone who only knows glass. They'll treat it like glass. They'll throw it, drop it, lose it. Why? Because they can't comprehend what it's worth. And you're that diamond. You were never in the wrong for shining. They were in the wrong for being blind. But blindness has a price, and the price is regret. Regret is the slowest poison in the world. It doesn't kill them at once. It seeps into their bones, whispers in their sleep, gnaws at their memories. They'll laugh with friends, but the laughter will be shallow. They'll find new faces, but none will match yours. They'll scroll through distractions, but every quiet moment will echo your name. And the best part? You won't even have to move a finger. That's what silence does. It kills them. Slowly. Quietly. Endlessly. Look at history. Empires have fallen because they underestimated the enemy they thought they'd already defeated. You were underestimated. They thought you were fragile, replaceable, weak. But scars change the equation. Scars are maps of survival, proof that you didn't just face the storm, you became it. And when you return, silent and sharp, they won't even recognize the person standing in front of them. Because the old you, that person died the night they betrayed you. What's alive now is a version of you that fears nothing. Don't confuse this with hate. Hate is too heavy to carry. This isn't hate. This is clarity. Clarity is colder, cleaner, more dangerous. Hate screams. Clarity stays quiet. Hate seeks revenge. Clarity lets time deliver justice. And justice always comes. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day they'll sit with themselves and feel the full weight of what they destroyed. And you'll already be far gone, unreachable, untouchable. You know why they'll never forget you? Because betrayal doesn't erase love. It rewrites it. Every good memory they had with you now tastes like guilt. Every laugh echoes with shame. Every moment of kindness you gave them now feels like a debt they can't repay. That's why they'll carry you like a ghost. You don't haunt them. They haunt themselves with the thought of you. And there's no escape from that. None. So don't curse your scars. Don't hide your edges. Don't apologize for the darkness you carry now. Because that darkness, that's your crown. That silence, that's your weapon. That pain, That's your empire. They shattered your soul, yes, but you rebuilt it into something sharper, harder, colder. And every piece they broke now serves as a warning to the world. I survived the fire. Don't test me. They thought you'd stay shattered. But every broken piece of you is a blade now. And blades don't beg. Blades cut. You ever wonder why betrayal cuts deeper than any blade? Because knives cut the body, but the trail, it cuts the soul. A wound on the body heals with time, but a wound on the soul, that doesn't heal. It transforms. It reshapes you. It forces you to face yourself in ways you never wanted. That's why you'll never be the same again. And that's exactly why you're stronger. They thought they ruined you, but really, they rewrote you. They stripped you of softness, carved out the naivety, and what's left now? A soul that's sharper than steel, colder than silence, and harder than stone. Think about it. Before they shattered you, you gave freely. You loved without caution. You believed without questioning. And they took advantage of it. They took your purity and treated it like dirt. But now you see the game for what it is. You don't give everything away. You don't hand your heart over like a free meal on a silver plate. You make people earn it. And when they can't earn it, when they fall short, you don't apologize. You walk. That's the kind of power betrayal forces on you. It teaches you boundaries, carved in blood. Let's get logical with it. Pain is an investment. Every drop of blood you spilled, every tear you drowned in, every sleepless night you fought through, it was all currency. And what did you buy with it? Strength, clarity, discipline. You don't spend nights crying for nothing. You don't survive heartbreak without taking something valuable out of it. Pain pays you back, always. And the return on that investment? A version of you they can't afford anymore. You know what's funny? They'll try to replace you. Oh, they'll search high and low, thinking they can find another heart like yours, another soul willing to carry their weight. But every replacement will fail, because replacements are cheap. And you were rare. You were one of one. They'll realize it too late, of course. That's the joke. They'll always realize it when the door is already locked, when the silence is permanent, when you've already built a life where their name is nothing but dust in the corners. And that's when regret chokes them. Here's the thing. They thought you needed them. They thought their absence would break you. But absence doesn't break warriors, it builds them. Absence is a forge, loneliness is a fire, silence is a teacher. You learned how to carry yourself without their shadow. You learned how to smile through scars. You learned how to rebuild without applause. And now Now you don't need anyone to complete you. You're whole in your own silence. That's why you're dangerous. Because the world can't control someone who needs nothing. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a battlefield. At first, you were a soldier with allies, trusting the ones beside you. Then betrayal came, and suddenly you were alone, arrows raining down, enemies circling. Most soldiers would have died there, but not you. You fought alone. You bled alone. You survived alone. And now, when you walk back onto that field, everyone sees it. They see the scars, the silence, the steel in your eyes. They know you're not just a soldier anymore. You're a force. And forces don't ask for loyalty. They command it. That's the cruel irony. The people who shattered you are the ones who built you. Their betrayal was your blueprint. Their silence was your hammer. Their absence was your fire. They thought they ended you, but all they did was build the very version of you they'll never be able to reach again. And that, my friend, is justice at its darkest and finest. They shattered your soul, but the pieces cut sharper now. And those pieces, they're the blades that will protect you, the walls that will guard you, the fire that will carry you. And when they remember you, they'll bleed on every edge they created. You know what's fascinating? People never realize how strong you are until they're the ones who made you strong. They wanted to break you for good, but instead they turned you into something unrecognizable. That's the ultimate irony. They crafted their own nightmare. They thought betrayal was the end of you, but betrayal was the beginning. Beginning of the silence, beginning of the cold, beginning of the clarity. And clarity is a dangerous thing, my friend. Because once your eyes have been opened by pain, you can never close them again. You used to beg for their honesty, their loyalty, their love. You'd stay up late waiting for replies, hoping for words, craving attention. That was the old you. The one who thought giving everything would eventually be enough. But when they shattered you, when they fed you lies with a smile on their lips, that illusion burned. And now you don't wait. You don't beg. You don't crave. You move. And that movement terrifies them. Because when you stop chasing, when you stop explaining, when you stop bleeding for people who never bled for you, you finally taste freedom. Think about it logically. The world doesn't respect kindness without strength. The world eats the gentle alive if there's no fire behind it. You showed kindness. You gave loyalty. and they spat on it. That's when you realized the truth. Kindness without boundaries is slavery. Loyalty without reciprocity is weakness. And love without respect is self-destruction. So you changed. You built walls. You sharpened your silence. You stopped offering your soul like a free drink at the table. Now, they have to earn it. And most won't. They'll say you've changed. Of course you've changed. Pain changes people in ways comfort never could. They'll whisper you're colder, harder, unreachable. But what they really mean is, you've stopped letting us use you. That's the truth beneath their complaints. They miss the version of you that would bleed for their convenience. They miss the version of you that forgave without question. That version is gone, buried beneath the rubble of your shattered soul. And what's alive now? A version that doesn't tolerate disrespect, doesn't beg for love, doesn't apologize for scars. Let's use an example. Imagine a lion raised in chains, fed scraps, mocked, poked, laughed at. One day the chains break. Do you think the lion walks gently out of the cage? Number. The lion roars. The lion remembers it has teeth. And suddenly, those who once mocked it are trembling. That's you now. The chains of betrayal broke something inside you, but they also woke something. And once awakened, it never sleeps again. Here's the justice in it all. They'll regret it. Slowly, quietly, they'll look for you in others, but they won't find you. They'll crave the loyalty you gave freely, the love you offered endlessly, but the world won't hand them another version of you. They'll taste fake after fake, empty after empty, and with each disappointment, your ghost grows louder. That's the real punishment. You don't haunt them. They haunt themselves with the memory of what they destroyed. And you don't even have to seek revenge. Revenge is too loud, too messy. Your existence is revenge. Every smile you wear now is a cut. Every step you take forward is a scar across their conscience. Every success you build in silence is a scream they can't silence. That's the kind of revenge pain gifts you. The kind where you don't move against them, you move beyond them. And beyond is exactly where they can't reach. Never forget, the scars they gave you are the same scars that guard you now. The silence they left you in is the same silence that arms you now. The loneliness that almost drowned you is the same loneliness that taught you how to breathe underwater. They shattered your soul, but the pieces cut sharper now. And every time they think of you, every time your name crawls into their memory, They'll bleed on the edges they created. That's not weakness. That's not loss. That's evolution. You know what betrayal does? It rewrites the script you thought you were living in. Before it hit, you thought life was some simple play. You give love, you get love. You give loyalty, you get loyalty. Straightforward, right? But betrayal tears through that script, burns the paper, and forces you to improvise in a stage full of liars. And in that improvisation, you discover the rawest, darkest truths about yourself. You realize you can take hits you never thought you could. You realize you can bleed oceans and still keep breathing. You realize that the world isn't made for soft souls, it's made to consume them. And the only way to survive? Become the kind of soul that doesn't just survive the fire, but becomes the fire. Think of how they left you. They didn't just walk away, no, they shattered you, looked back at the ruins and thought, that's enough. They'll never rise again. They thought the sound of your soul breaking would be the soundtrack of their freedom. But what they never accounted for is what happens when someone picks up their shattered pieces and realizes these edges cut now. You're not the same fragile vessel they once held. You're shards, sharpened by abandonment, carved by silence. And anyone who tries to touch you now, they'll bleed. That's the paradox. Your destruction became your weapon. Let's talk reality. No sugarcoating. Betrayal is a kind of death. A death of trust, a death of innocence, a death of the future you thought you were building. You mourn it like a funeral, except the corpse isn't buried in the ground, it lives in your chest. Every memory becomes a ghost, every promise turns into ash. And yet, you keep walking. That's the power in you. Because most people don't walk away from that kind of death. They get stuck in it, repeating the same pain over and over. But you carried your coffin and kept moving. That's not weakness. That's rebirth. Look at the irony. They thought breaking you would erase you, but breaking you only carved your name deeper into the stone of time. Because people remember the ones who survive. They forget the betrayers. Nobody writes songs about the coward who leaves, but the one who rises from ruins, they get remembered. You became unforgettable not in spite of the betrayal, but because of it. They wrote their own insignificance the moment they wrote you off. Imagine a glass of water, gentle, clear, useful. Drop it, and it shatters. Most would sweep up the shards and throw them away, but you picked them up, held them, and realized they could cut. You realized you weren't meant to be held gently by unworthy hands. You were meant to wound anyone reckless enough to underestimate you. That's why you're feared now, even in silence. Because silence isn't emptiness anymore. It's warning. It's the hum before the storm. It's the cold before the strike. And that silence, it's louder than any scream. Let's break it into logic. Why does betrayal change you? Because it proves a truth most people spend lifetimes avoiding. Not everyone you'd die for would live for you. Not everyone who swears loyalty has it in their bones. Not everyone who smiles deserves trust. Pain doesn't just hurt, it educates. It rewires your instincts, sharpens your vision. After betrayal, you don't look at people the same way. You don't hear their promises the same way. You listen with scars now. And scars don't lie. They'll never tell you this, but they'll remember you forever. Not because they want to, but because regret doesn't leave. Regret is a parasite. It crawls into their mind late at night, whispers your name into the cracks of their memory. Every smile you gave them, every sacrifice, every ounce of loyalty, it all comes back, but twisted with guilt. They'll replay it, and each replay cuts them deeper. That's their punishment. You don't need to lift a finger. Their conscience is the noose. And you're not chasing ghosts anymore. You've learned that the only apology you'll ever need is your own evolution. You've learned that the only closure you'll ever get is the door you slam shut yourself. You've learned that silence is sharper than words, that walking away bleeds louder than confrontation. That's the discipline pain gave you. Control. Control of your voice. Control of your energy. Control of your worth. So let them think they won. Let them think they broke you for good. The reality is simpler. They built their own executioner. Because now, every time they think of you, every time they see you rise, every time they realize they can't touch you anymore, the pieces they shattered will cut them from the inside. That's not revenge. That's justice. And justice, my friend, doesn't scream. Justice sits in silence, waiting, watching, letting time carve its verdict into the guilty. Never forget, they shattered your soul, but the pieces cut sharper now. And those pieces, they belong to you alone. A reminder, a shield, a crown, a warning. And when the world tries to break you again, those same sharp edges will remind them, this soul doesn't shatter twice. Here's the part that burns them the most. They didn't just lose you. They lost the version of themselves that only existed when you were around. You see, people like that, they don't realize how much of their identity is tied to the person who believed in them. You carried their insecurities. You made excuses for their flaws. You gave them value by standing beside them. And when they betrayed you, when they shattered you, They didn't just destroy your trust. They destroyed the mirror that made them look better than they were. That's why they'll keep coming back. Not for you, but for the version of themselves they can't find without you. And when they realize that mirror is broken forever, that you'll never reflect their lies again, regret becomes their only companion. And here's where you rise higher than ever. Because the person who went through betrayal isn't the same one walking into the future. The old you lived for others, fought for others, bled for others. The new you live for your own purpose. You bleed only for goals that matter. You fight battles worth scars. You no longer waste your energy proving your worth to people too blind to see it. Instead, you sharpen your silence. You perfect your craft. You build yourself piece by piece into someone untouchable. And when the world sees you now, it won't see the one who was shattered. It'll see the one who took broken glass and built a throne. And that's the kind of strength nobody can take away again.